Welcome back to One Comic Book a Day, where I finally figured out what was wrong with my microphone. For some reason, it's only working if it's plugged in backwards. I don't know either. Today, it is Bat Friday, as we are covering Detective Comics number 37 and the Batman story, The Screaming House, which is a better title than this actual comic. This is maybe the most forgettable of all the Batman stories. I really had to go look up this story again this morning because I read it yesterday and I have very little memory of anything, except for the opening. The opening is very memorable. We join Batman in the Batmobile, as it should be, and it's looking more Batmobile-ish. I should mention that Jerry Robinson is more than likely the artist on this issue, and he's going to be the artist a little more consistently, especially in the Batman issues versus the Detective Comics issues. But it still looks great, and I can't really tell a huge difference between him and Sheldon Meldoff. Remember, not Bob Kane. So Batman gets out of his car, goes to what rereading the description calls an abandoned house, but if it's an abandoned house, why does he stop here? Because Batman is doing what you would expect Batman to be doing, asking for directions because he's lost. Wait, I don't expect Batman to ever do that. And it's too bad this house ends up being where a crime is being committed, because I would have loved Batman to knock on the door of an 80-year-old woman. Would he even knock? Would he just appear in her house? I don't know, I'm not giving directions to a guy dressed up as a bat who appears behind me when I turn around. But I would have loved a scene where, like, he knocked on the door and the 80-year-old woman opens up and she goes, "Hello, who are you?" And he goes, "I am Vengeance. And can you help Vengeance find his way to the freeway? I think I made a wrong turn over there." See how ridiculous that would be? You gotta help Vengeance find his way back to the freeway. I think the 5's over there. I don't know, this could have been an amazing scene that most Batman fans would have hated, but I would have loved. So he gets out of the car and he hears a scream. So something's happening at this abandoned house that he was going to ask for directions in. A man named Joey is being tortured by 3 men. They seem to want to know if he has told on their leader, the Turg. Not the Turk, the Turg. Batman comes in and just starts beating the crap out of all of them. And when he knocks them all out and binds them, he lets Joey go. Joey takes the opportunity to knock Batman out because it's that easy. And when Batman comes to, Joey has shot and killed the other guys. Batman keeps letting people die for really stupid decisions in this comic. So now he looks for the Turg. He finds only 3 people named Turg in the phone book, because this is how the world's greatest detective handles a mystery. He goes to a grocery store in a bad part of town that the 3rd Turg owns. The other 2 seem pretty respectable. A man walks out from the back room and the grocer points out that he is the owner, the Turg, along with Joey, so Batman now knows this is the right place. He follows them, and get this, cuts out all the lights, puts on infrared goggles, which he has. Until I saw Bill Finger wrote this, I would have assumed Gardner Fox, because it's a new gadget, and Gardner Fox loved the gadgets. So he has infrared night vision goggles, and can see them, so he starts just screwing with them in the dark and kind of beating them up, and then does nothing, just leaves. Could have ended this now, but no, he beats them up, and there was never a reason really given why he does this. Anyway, he mentions Joey's name while he's doing this, so this makes the Turg immediately paranoid about Joey, and they kill Joey, which surprises Batman. For a moment, I thought that was his goal, but no, he seemed legitimately surprised that Joey got killed. So Batman has managed to get pretty much everybody that was in the Screaming House killed for reasons. Like, I'm trying to figure out the reason, and he could have ended it there. He just kind of wants to screw with them. And it just led to people dying. Joey reveals that he was an undercover agent trying to bring down Turg, because Turg and his organization is working for the Axis powers. Never actually outright said, because we're not at that point of the war. We're in the 1940s. We're not part of the war, so publishers are telling them to keep from actually mentioning the war, so they mention conflicts vaguely over in Europe and people working for those powers, but never outright saying those powers until we actually get, and by we I mean the United States, into World War II. It was seen as disrespectful. Batman then goes after the men, and they're expecting Batman to show up because they're about to take down a ship. They're going to sabotage a ship. So they're going to go out and sabotage a ship by shooting like a motorboat at it. Doesn't seem to have explosives, so I don't know exactly how this was going to work. Batman shows up. They're expecting him, so they drop a large sack on it. What was in the sack? No idea. The next time we see the sack, they put him in it and throw him into the ocean. Unfortunately, they didn't take his belt, so he pulls out a knife and just cuts himself out, takes out the guys on the boat, at the last second saves the ship from being destroyed, and fights his way to finding out that the Turg is actually a guy named Grut who's very rich and powerful, and Batman confronts him, beating him and ending this entire story. It's not the greatest Batman story. There's not, like, the most interesting thing he does is the infrared goggles and get out of his car to ask for directions. The rest of it is, I don't want to say paint by numbers, it's just not interesting. Like, the fights go really quickly too. There's no real actual threat. It's just kind of going through the motions. So that's it from Detective Comics number 37, The Screaming House. God, that sounds like such a more interesting story than I actually got. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon to get notification when a new video goes up. I do this Monday through Friday, but Monday through Thursdays is a Superman comic where I cover a Superman story in either Action Comics or the main Superman type. And join us next time, same that day, same comic book channel. Have a great day.